TJ Dillashaw joining us now on Unlocking the Cage. I know you're super busy. Thank you so much for making time for us. First question I want to ask, and I just told everybody I was going to ask you, the selection of opposition, right? When you came back, Cory Sandhagen, was that you? Was that the UFC saying you're taking on Cory Sandhagen? Did you want the best guy you could get? I'm really curious how that selection of opponent came about.
I wanted the best guy I could get. You hit it on the head. I mean, I wanted a title fight. I wanted to fight whoever the champion was. I wanted to come back and reclaim what I never – what was mine. And unfortunately, the debacle between Jan and Aljamain, that fight wasn't doable, so I wanted the number one contender fight.
Has it been, in your opinion, I think second to 155, 135, bantamweight, is the most stacked division in the UFC. I really, honestly, top to bottom, it's full of absolute killers. But the waters have been a little muddied, right? I mean, Peter Yan beat Jose Aldo. I love Jose Aldo, a ton of respect for him. He had never won at 135. Then Aljamain Sterling wins, and there's controversy there because of the headshot on, need him in the head, on his knees, etc. It seems like it's muddied up a little bit. Does that concern you as a former champion, right? Kind of cleaning up the division.
It doesn't concern me. It makes it better that I'm back because no one's defended the belt. No one's won it and been able to defend it since the days of me, Dominic Cruz, or Renan Barão. No one's been able to defend their belt. So it's time for me to come back and do that.
Serving your suspension for the last 2 years, how much of it, and I understand a bit being away from what you love to do, but you're still in it. So were you watching fights? Were you involved in fights? Was it a matter of keeping an eye on the sport still, or was that painful? I'm honestly really curious about that.
A little bit of both, even before my suspension, I've never been one that's like watching all the fights, it's my job, man. I go to the gym, I work out all day, I think about fighting, I think about my fights. The last thing I want to do is come home and watch it and get anxiety, watching fights, thinking that I'm going to fight. You know what I mean? So I've never been one that's like, sit down and watch all the fights. If I have invested interest in it, yeah, I do. I stayed active. I stayed in the gym. I stayed coaching. The fights that I was involved in was like Juan Archuleta winning his world title for Bellator and he's building his way up. So I've always been in his corner, things like that, But I've kept an eye on my weight division. And even that's kind of tough because I'm sitting on the sidelines having to watch it,
Yeah, no, I understand completely, man. Speaking of TJ Dillashaw, of course, this Saturday, taking on Cory Sandhagen. So coming back and having an opponent to focus on during your whole time off, of course, dealing with the fans, dealing with the negativity, dealing with the repercussions of your decision that you owned up to, but couldn't have been easy. Does it make it easier and better having a fight in front of you to focus on finally?
I guess so. I think that what made it easier was just being upfront about it from the beginning. Yeah. I got to get it off my chest and do my own therapy for the most part and talk about what I did and why I did it. So now it's kind of old news. And of course I'm going to have to repeat myself, but that's the name of the fight game no matter what. When you're doing interviews about a certain opponent, you end up repeating yourself no matter what. But now it's about repeating about myself, about my own punishment.
That's understandable, but I had someone actually write me and ask me, so I feel the need to ask you because I don't want to say something on your behalf and then, speak for you. I don't want to do that. And the idea was basically what goes through the head of somebody. You were very public about when your manager called you and they said, man, the test came back, and you said your heart sank. Is that idea of, is it hope that I know why you did it, to get down to 125 and all these things. Is it a matter of hoping past that point? Like, man, I just hope I can get through this and this indiscretion is never revealed. Is it shame? Is it hurt? What's the primary emotion when you're thinking about having to own up to something like that and having to face the public? Is it hope that it wouldn't happen? I just want to know that primary emotion, man. Because a lot of people said, oh, man, what was he thinking? I'm like, I don't know. I can't speak for TJ Dillashaw. What is that primary emotion you feel in a situation like that? I'm really honestly curious if you can talk about it.
The emotion I was feeling of why I owned up to it?
Yeah, not why you owned up to it, but it was like when you make that decision, and I've had teammates and talked to a lot of athletes that have used PEDs, and they go, well, I wanted to win. And in your case, you got to make 125. You felt the pressure of the fans. But is it, I just hope it'll work out because they're testing so good. They go through so many things. Oh, is it? I'm hoping it'll work out. I'm really curious about that.
Yeah, man. I mean, I was a shell of myself. You know what I mean? Like I would be on talk to being the best pound for pound fighter in the world. I'm going to drop down to 25 to get another belt. I mean, look, man, I was trying to cement my future. I'm trying to get paid.
Yeah.
I'm trying to do all these great fucking things, right? And then you cut into a weight class that, I thought was very doable. I was like, fuck, I could do this. And even going through the process, like, damn, I look good, like, but now when I look at pictures of myself from then, I look fucking disgusting. You know what I mean? Like, I looked like a crackhead. I looked really, really bad.
Yeah.
In the moment, I didn't really think about it, but I was waking up in the morning. I was freezing cold, had no energy. I was just full-blown anemic, my hematocrit, my hematocrit dropped down to the 30s, like, when you wake up a shell of yourself and you're supposed to be the baddest man on the planet, it's a mental, like, what am I going to do? You know what I mean? Like,
yeah.
I had this opportunity in front of myself to just set myself up forever, and I've been in this game. I know how they were doing it. They're very, very strict, right? And I took a chance. I was like, they came and tested me when I was like 5 or 6 weeks out. I don't remember the exact time. I was like, fuck, man, most likely they're not going to test me until I get close to the fight. I'll be good. You know what I mean? Like, I know I wasn't able to take this. I did my research. I'm a very smart guy when it comes to nutrition and working out. I went to school for clinical exercise science. Like, I'm not an idiot. You know what I mean? So I was like, man, I could probably get by with this. At least that was my hope, right? Like,
right.
I didn't know what it was. It's either that or pull out of the fight. Which in hindsight, I should have just fucking pulled out of the fight, right? Because, multiple things. I should have pulled out of it, but now it's been a silver lining behind it all. But I would never choose to do it again, so I would have pulled out of the fight. But, yeah, so I just thought I'd be able to get away with it, man. And going and doing it and done. I think the way we should do it is, like, let any opponent I fight take it, because I actually don't think it fucking helps me whatsoever. We're in the wrong sport for what I was taking. You know what I mean? Take it.
Right.
Go, please do it. Please do what I was doing. Because I'm not running a fucking marathon. I'm an anaerobic athlete. But no matter what, it's cheating. And it's going to be looked at that way, and I'm going to be ridiculed for it, and I understand that. And I've accepted it, if that makes sense.
No, it makes perfect sense. It makes perfect sense. And in this fight, man, is there you talk about the pressure you put on yourself, and you said, when I don't put that pressure on, like, oh, do you feel extra pressure in this fight? And you said, dude, I feel pressure. I don't like losing rounds in the gym, right? I feel pressure sparring. I feel pressure rolling jiu-jitsu with world champions. I don't want to get caught. That idea of, if I don't just win against Cory Sandhagen, but if I look great, what that does? It silences all the critics. Is there anything in your head of not just beating Cory Sandhagen, but looking as sharp as you did doing it? Is there extra pressure on you in that regard?
I wouldn't say any extra. It's going to be great when I go out there and kind of show a lot of people up, right? It will be, but that's not something I focus on, I guess.
Gotcha.
I don't know why, but for myself, it's all for myself, to be honest. There's not, for whatever reason, there's not any added. I guess maybe there should be, and maybe that's a good thing. Maybe it should be. Maybe I just don't really even understand. I'm letting that emotion come to the top of the surface because I'm a fucking athlete and I'm supposed to be tough. You know what I mean? But I don't know, man. Maybe that pressure is good. I'm going to go out there and continue to do my shit. When the pressure's tough, when the things are on the line, I perform. So let's fucking go.
What was it like getting ready for Cory Sandhagen, a guy you know well, you have a history with a little bit? He's awkward. His build's funky. He's explosive in weird ways where not only does he catch guys, he catches them in ways they didn't expect. Look at Frankie Edgar knockout. Frankie never saw that coming. He doesn't just fight in a standard way. He's kind of funky and hard to deal with. What was camp getting ready for a guy like that?
He's technical in his own way. He's very, very technical. But, getting ready for him just kind of like anything else. Everyone's got their own strengths and weaknesses. The fighters that are harder to get ready for is the guys you don't know what they're going to do. I guess I've been saying that all fucking day today. But the guys you don't know if they're going to take you down, if they're going to strike with you, if they're going to try to do more submission-based stuff, they're more of a wrestler. Like, those are the guys that you don't know who they're going to be, is the ones that are really hard to game plan for. A guy like Cory Sandhagen, he's a striker. He's got good footwork. He's got good explosive kicks, but that's it. I don't have to worry about him coming and taking me down and submitting me. I don't have to worry about that. I've trained with the guy. I know that. So it's a little bit easier to set up a game plan, you know?
And once you finish this fight on Saturday and you go in there with everything you have, you believe you're the superior fighter, you believe you're going to win. I talked about the emotions you experienced before your suspension. What do you think that emotion's going to be after that fight, man, on Saturday? That's the last question for you.
It's just going to be fun, man. Soaking it all up, you know what I mean? It's just going to be time to enjoy the victory, and celebrate with my family, celebrate with my teammates, and things like that.
I appreciate you making time.
My door at the same time.
It's all good, man. I appreciate you making time for me, TJ. TJ Dillashaw, best of luck to you on Saturday, man.
I appreciate it. Thank you.
Anytime. TJ Dillashaw, you heard it from his own lips. Don't have to ask me about it, how he felt and what he thought.
SiriusXM presents an